How's it going, everybody? This is Snowboard Adventures. I'm going to make this a pretty quick video. This is probably like my 5th attempt at doing this, and I'm just going to lay out a few simple tips and tricks when it comes to snowboarding, some stuff that I've just kind of noticed, and I'm going to go ahead and bring us up to a good spot for me to be able to just show some stuff. You're going to notice that I'm going to focus a lot on some planes and vectors and physics of snowboarding, but I'm going to try to keep it pretty simple and short. The last attempt was about 20 minutes long, and I'm sure you guys don't want to hear me ramble on about it, so I'll keep this short, and if you guys want a longer video in the future, let me know. So, there's a few things that we're going to talk about. We're going to have a plane, and the plane is going to be... Ooh, that was a bad picture. The plane is going to be the plane of the snowboard. About like that. The plane of the snowboard. So that is in a scale where the snowboard is compared to its base, right? So the base of the snowboard, that's like if you had it flat on the ground, that is your plane if you were to lay a level across it, right? So the other thing is we're going to have our centerline vector, right? Our centerline vector. That is going to be roughly, that one was bad too, roughly 90 degrees from our plane and at the center of the board. So this is a pretty bad frame. I had some better ones my last attempt at this, but I ended up losing the recording, so this is another attempt that I have made. So my head's turned, right? And so obviously it looks skinnier. If my head was straight, I would imagine it would be about right here, right? If I was looking straight that way, that's probably about where my head would be. So as you can see, in comparison to this center line of the board, my head is relatively close, right? That's very important to make sure that you maintain that distance to the center line of the board, because what you're worried about is the center of gravity, right? So if you look at the center of my board, going lengthwise of my board, my knees are in line or slightly over, probably about right where I'm drawing this dot at. So if you're worried about that, if you're worried about your center of gravity, right, you have this U shape or C shape. I'm going to call it a U shape, mostly because I'm going to probably get a lot of hate if anyone does watch this video saying it's a C, but it's a U in my mind. That is a U shape. You want to maintain this U shape because that allows your center of gravity to be as close as you can, with your knees being over towards your toe side and your head being towards your center of gravity. Your center of gravity is going to be here in line with your board, right? And so the big thing is you want to keep your center of gravity low and towards the center of your board, because if you go too far in either direction, like let's say your center of gravity was over here, right? I was leaning super hard, my head was over here. What's going to end up happening is I'm going to face plant in the snow that direction, right? So once again, this is like my 5th attempt, 3rd attempt, 2nd attempt. I don't even care. I have made a lot of attempts trying to record this, so I'm going to keep this dirty, going to keep it quick, just get to the point, right? So you have that plane, you know where your head is. So we'll stop at another spot. That one will be easy to draw. Just to reiterate my point of, there's your plane, there's your 90. You draw a line roughly straight up. There's my head, right? Center of gravity, follow the board that way. Knees are here. Center of gravity is here. If it was too far this way, I'd fall that way. If my center of gravity was too far this way, I fall that way, right? Makes sense. Pretty easy. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to focus on my toe side. I don't have a lot of great clips of my toe side, sadly. if I can find a good one. Toe side was hard for me to explain. Where do I transition? This is probably the best chance that I have, right? So, plane of snowboard goes that way. 90 is this way, right? If you were to just look at that plane, what you have to remember is due to angles, right? This is a 2D plane versus like a 3D plane in a video, right? So it's super hard, but imagine if you were to go just straight up off the board, right? So you're talking 90 this way to the center line as well. This is what it would look like, right? Just have to believe me here. This is what it would look like, right? Board's this way. Center line of the board is like this. So straight up and down, your 90's there, 90 here. A lot of mess going on down here. Hopefully you guys can understand. But if you look back over here, whoops. It's a horrible drawing, but I have this U shape, right? We had the U shape on the heel side, right? Heel side. And we have this U shape while we're on our toe side, right? So they're opposite directions, right? Because you notice the heel side, I was bent like this, my head was here. My toe side, granted, my spine goes like that, but you can see I'm thrusting my hips that way because I want to maintain my center of gravity here on this line. My head, another really important factor, because I'll show you a little bit later on, is a huge factor for keeping that center of gravity. I'll show you a fall that I have later in this video, right? If your head gets too far away from that center of gravity, you're gonna fall. So, just a super quick video. I will try to get a better one out eventually, see if I could find that first one where I explained all this in a lot more detail, especially talking about like the vectors of the slope and when to initiate turns. But one of the biggest things for like, especially when you're learning, is just getting a feel for where you are at with your board and your body. So, yes. Yeah, right here. So, this is where I am well past the point of no return and I will fall, right? So we look at the center line. Obviously, center line on this one is kind of weird, but it's easier to tell because it is the toe side. My arm's more straight with my body, but even still, we will fudge. Yeah, I mean, you can see how close that is versus the other one. So we're going to come off at an angle. Okay, there's my center line of the board, right? Center line goes over here. It's going to follow that same slope up. Remember, this is a plane. This one is further back. I mean, so that one's kind of hard to tell, but we're only going to focus about this line right here. So we'll actually go through. Okay, notice how far away my head is, right? That's quite a significant distance here. So what happened is my center of gravity, instead of being here, has shifted here, right? Because it's always going to be fairly in line between your head and your feet, right? For the most part, that is where your center of gravity will be. It might be a couple inches this way or a couple inches this way, but it's far away from the center of the gravity or the center line of the board, right? So my weight has shifted and I'm falling this direction, right? So as we move the frames forward, just a little bit, you will see I am past the point of no return. My legs have caught up, but I'm still outside of that center of gravity. There's no way that I can actually save this anymore. My board is out from under me. I am falling. So go another frame forward. You can see I'm about to hit the ground. I am still slightly outside. And this is where I hit the ground, right? I am now on the ground. I fell. And so the big thing is keep your head in line with your board, with the center line of the board. And for the most part, that should keep your center of gravity fairly level, fairly straight. You should be fine. And so something that I recommend is definitely taking it slow. It's going to take a while to learn. You will fall, especially if it's your first day, second day, third day. Um, you will fall a lot. And that's just what it is, what it is. When you go up there, just know that. The worst thing that you can do is go up there, expect to do amazing on your first day, and then get super disappointed because you fell 40, 50, 60, 100 times, 200 times. Um, and then letting it get to your head and saying, I'm not good, I can't pick this up, I can't figure it out. It's just going to take time. Snowboarding is, in my opinion, one of the hardest ones to learn. And I would like to also say, especially if you made it to the end of the video, I am not a professional snowboarder. I was not taught by a professional. I was self-taught. But I've been snowboarding for 3 years. Um, I've helped multiple others learn how to snowboard. I do highly recommend and advocate for going and getting snowboarding lessons if it's when you're trying to learn. It's something that I did not really have readily available to me, funding wise, and I couldn't get lessons, so I taught myself through use of videos and tips and tricks. And so I definitely recommend watching videos before you go up, getting lessons. But if you don't have that ability, maybe these are some tips and tricks that could help, helping you stay more balanced. Big word of advice: snowboarding deals a lot with centrifugal force, right? Faster you go, the harder you can lean. The slower you can go, the slower you go, the less you can lean, right? So when you're learning, you're not going to be going fast. You're going to be going 3, 4, 5 miles an hour, and you're not going to be able to lean very much. And because of that, you also won't be able to turn very sharp. The faster you go, the sharper you can turn because you have that momentum to keep you upright when you are leaning. It's all just comes down to centrifugal force, right? You are moving fast, you're leaning, you're able to maintain that just because you have that speed in a direction that's able to help you bring you upright. You overcome that centrifugal force, obviously you're going to fall, and that also plays into the whole thing with your weight. Big thing that I see with a lot of snowboarders when they're learning is they feel unstable and they will start bending like this. They'll look like a pretzel. Not a pretzel. Dorito, if you were to draw a straight line. They look like a Dorito, right? You got a 90-degree here, just over. Um, they look like a Dorito. They're hunched over, but as you can imagine, thinking about what we've kind of talked about, what is that going to do to your center line, right? So let's find a good spot. Let's find a good spot that I could draw this. Yeah, right there. Okay, so you're looking at your center line, right? And we're just drawing this roughly. I'm a horrible artist. Do not judge me. You look at your center line, right? My body is about like this, right? If I hunched over on this dotted line, right? I hinged at the hips and I'm hunched over. My head's here. If we know anything, obviously it'd be over here, but if we know anything, our center of gravity follows to our feet. And so our center of gravity ends up right here, right? So our center of gravity is now over. And what's going to happen is even though we're trying to be on our heel side, we're way over, and so it's going to make us super unstable, right? The slope of our board and our center of gravity are fighting each other, and you're either going to fall and you're going to dig your toe side into the snow, or you're going to fall over backwards. And what you'll see is you may be able to go, but if you go and we're going to clear this up. You're going down the slope, right? Let's say you are here. Let's actually go back. Let's say you're on your heel side, right? You're going this way, and you go to initiate a turn to your toe side, right? What's going to happen is if you're bent in that Dorito shape, we'll call it a Dorito. I think pizza's already taken by the skiers. You're bent in that Dorito shape. What's going to happen is you come over and you flatten out. You're going to fall every single time that you get parallel to the run, because you're going to maintain this U shape rather than this U shape, right? Because toe sides, you should be this, and heel sides, you should be this. So that's just something that is definitely something to keep aware of, something that I recommend. Just paying attention to, making sure that you're staying upright, don't get into a triangle shape. Yeah. Once again, just make sure that you guys have fun. I'm going to let this video kind of play a little bit, let you guys actually watch. But I definitely recommend just making sure that you guys go out, you have fun, you give it your all, watch videos before, get a tutor if you can get one. After all, you're going up to have fun, right? You're going up to have fun, not to get frustrated, not to get mad. It's a really fun sport when you learn it, but it's going to take time, just like anything else takes time. Yeah, as I said, this is a very long series of attempts trying to figure this out. I mean, this video alone is 18 minutes and counting, and it's definitely one of the longest ones. Definitely not longer than the last videos that were probably an hour plus long of me just trying to explain vectors and snowboarding. It was definitely much better, but if this is something that you'd like me to dive deeper into, bring up the physics a little bit more of snowboarding, especially on different runs or for beginners on easier slopes, or even create videos specific showing how your body positioning can affect your snowboarding, definitely let me know in the comments. Obviously, if you made it this far, I really appreciate it. Please leave in the comments what you think, what I could do better, what you would like to see. This video was brought up to me by someone who asked for tips and advice when it comes to snowboarding, and so I want to help people out, want to get people into the sport. It's so much fun once you pick it up, and even while you're learning, if you keep a good mind on you, it's just a blast. It's a good community. Never had a bad day up there. Even when I dislocated my hip, I was up the next moment I had. Even when I got my concussion, I was up the next moment I had. And so, definitely something that I recommend going out, trying, and just let me know what you think. Let me know what you want to see. And yeah, you guys have a good one. Bye.